am Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
Do you ever wonder what shows look like behind the scenes? After 4 successful seasons of The Last Kingdom, we really want to know what the show looks like without all the CGI and special effects. Just sit back, relax, and we'll tell you all about it in today's video. Before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and keep notifications turned on. First things first, what is The Last Kingdom all about? The British historical television series The Last Kingdom is based on Bernard Cornwell's book series, The Saxon Stories. It is set in the late 9th century AD, when England is split into 7 separate kingdoms. The Viking Danes terrorized the Anglo-Saxon lands. The Kingdom of Wessex is the only stronghold left battling against the marauding Danes. The central character is Uhtred Uhtredson. He is a fierce warrior in the service of King Alfred. He has both enemies and allies among the English Saxons and the Viking Danes. His storyline is one that captures our attention. Next up, the green screen. Haven't you ever wondered why a green screen is green? Like, why isn't it blue or red? If you ever watch any kind of adventure film or blockbuster movie, you have to know that a green screen is being used. Green screen compositing, or chroma keying, are the techniques used to make fake things look real. It was first used back in 1940 by Larry Butler in The Thief of Baghdad. The film ended up winning the Oscar for Best Special Effects. But did you know that the screen didn't used to be green? It used to be blue with chroma keying. So why did it turn green? It's simple. It's because people are not green. In other words, the rest of the colors cannot be the same green for the camera shots as well as the effects. So that's why this striking green color is used, to contrast with everything that is not green. So how does it work exactly? Normally, actors stand in front of the green screen. The directors and producers then film the actors, replacing the green background with whatever they choose, mountains or sea, it really doesn't matter. It's going to look great whatever it is. There is really no limit to what these pros can do. The CGI in The Last Kingdom just blows our minds. Next up, how do they make the landscapes look so real? From beautifully realistic lakes, to fierce battlefields, to medieval towns, to mysterious forests. If I didn't say there was a green screen, you would never have noticed, would you? Even the mountains and hills are mostly CGI. Next, the real filming location. As we well know, the story takes place in England. Can you imagine that most of the scenes are actually filmed very far away from the UK? In fact, the series is mainly filmed in Hungary. So why Hungary of all places when it is supposed to be in England? That's a good question, isn't it? It so happens that the creators of the show are looking for dramatic landscapes that England can't provide. Nigel Marchant, the executive producer of the show, thinks Hungary brings a sense of another world to The Last Kingdom. The crew can't pinpoint what England might have looked like 1,000 years ago. Surely England has changed plenty in all that time. Forests have been chopped down and grasslands have been turned into fields. Filming in Hungary gives the producers the creative freedom to create a sense of otherness. The English town of Winchester is actually filmed near the village of Gobeljaris, west of Budapest. We bet you never guessed that. King Edward's castle is even filmed in Hungary. The Bedinburg Fortress is filmed in season 1 and 2, but in season 4, the team no longer has access to the Bedinburg site. They ended up having to make a new set to reproduce the old one. The countryside of Wessex is filmed in the countryside of Hungary. The scene where Uhtred and his allies try to escape Eardwulf by traveling across Wessex is actually filmed in the beautiful hills of Dobogoko. This place is quite a tourist attraction, and we can understand why. Next, lighting is everything. Without the proper lighting tools, the show looks very different. Darker scenes gives it a middle-aged feel, and the show looks like it can take place in today's time. Lighting creates visual atmosphere and mood. Sometimes extra shadows are used for dramatic effect. In many of the scenes in The Last Kingdom, the lighting is changed and made darker to fit the medieval vibe. For some reason, TV shows and films like The Black Death, Britannia, Kingdom of Heaven, The King and Vikings all use this kind of lighting. Its purpose is to create mystery and dread and tie the scenes to that time period. Now we're at number 6. Guess what? The sea is fake. Not to make you feel too sad, but the boats on the water are not real. Some of the boats we see on the water are actually modern-day rafts painted green so they can be edited. The boats are actually in the studio, and with a combination of green screen and other editing effects, the water looks totally real. In other scenes, a big swimming pool is enclosed with boards that are edited to make the whole scene look like it is in the sea. Did you know that even the boat's sail is a special effect? That one certainly surprised me. It is really hilarious when actors are staring into the board start acting as if they're searching for an island, they end up looking like idiots. Luckily, some of the water that the actors are splashed with is real. Behind the CGI, it's really funny to see actors rocking about in a boat without real water. It's a boat hanging in the air and propelled on other equipment. I don't know how they managed to keep a straight face. Next up, most soldiers aren't real. Wait, what? Turns out that special effects are used on the battlefield. To increase the number of soldiers, only a handful of actors and horses are there, and the rest are computerized. Even the horses are added with CGI. In Season 1, do you recall that scene where the rider collapses into the sunken ground? As the riders approach the enemy, the earth starts to collapse. Let's just say that all you see are special effects. The earth never collapses, and luckily no horses are injured. It is an amazing visual experience to see the difference between CGI and normal shots. Even the arrows that archers fire are special effects. They only need to hold a bow, and the rest is up to the VFX artist. Just as well, other cast members could be killed by an arrow to the head. This technique itself has been used for a long time. Remember the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Although they used more actors, a lot depended on computerized soldiers. The same happens in The Last Kingdom. We can even see in behind-the-scenes footage how there are few riders on their horses, and then nothing else, and all of a sudden there are thousands of computerized soldiers that look hyper-realistic. There seems to be long lines of soldiers, but in reality there are only a handful of them. Next, most of the houses are not real. This one is no surprise, but it's not likely that film studios have time to build a lot of houses. It's way too time-consuming and costly. Instead, they work with a very few real buildings, and the rest is CGI. Even some of the medieval fortresses are in reality a small piece of wall or a gate, and the rest of the building is digitally added. In one of the behind-the-scenes shots, you can see the sea and an island in the distance. With CGI placed over the take, the island all of a sudden has a castle. As we have seen with Game of Thrones, castles are quite a trend among CGI artists. Next up, most of the violence is fake. Do you just wonder while you watch The Last Kingdom how the show gets the blood and gore right? A lot of blood is added by CGI, and very little fake blood is used, especially blood gushing out of a character's mouths. All the stabbing is done by the VFX artist. Don't know what kind of nightmares that person must have at night. Using special effects to kill someone on screen sounds like the perfect job. Fire and flames are added to a minimal, real fire on set. Battle scenes add fire and smoke to make the scenes look more realistic as if there is a real fire. This makes me feel sorry for the editors who probably don't have much of a life if they have to edit all the scenes and add the stuff that really isn't there, animating everything to make it look real. Next, nothing is factual. Even if the show is based on history, they don't get everything right, and they have changed history a bit. Aren't you dying to hear about all the mistakes that The Last Kingdom made? We'll tell you. Let's start with the main character, Uhtred. How can we put this? He is a fictional character. We don't know if there ever was a real Uhtred. There are accounts of his existence in literature, but we can't be sure he existed in real life. Aethelred is another character that is depicted differently on the show. The one thing that the show considers about him is his hunger for power. In real life, Aethelred isn't considered a weak and insecure ruler, but the show wants him to be one. Last on our list, Blue Bolt. Blue Bolt has been working on The Last Kingdom since Season 1, which first aired in 2015. This award-winning visual effects company is based in central London. These VFX artists create mind-blowing scenes with breathtaking realism. Turning Budapest into medieval Britain is not an easy task. There you have it, guys and girls. Your eyes can deceive you because not everything is as it seems. CGI can do anything and make you believe things that aren't real. That's it for today. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, like the video, and leave a comment in the comment section down below.